Hello, I'm Frida Yoshioka, and I'm a Japanese teacher. One of the most important things I teach, second only to developing interpersonal speaking skills in students, is how to read in Japanese. In other words, how to develop literacy. This series of assessments lays the groundwork for this. In this presentation, I will give a quick background of my program, overall the design priorities of this series of assessments, and explain the tasks in the assessment, and talk about how this assessment is administrated. The background is that my context is an independent school, a middle school, and Japanese is one of the foreign languages offered. It's an academic program aiming for an AP Japanese language and culture class. In Japanese, there 3 scripts are used, and this assessment focuses only on one of them. My design priorities are based on 4 tasks that are necessary for reading and writing, and this series of quizzes are actually mini versions of the entire summative assessment at the end. My assumption is that the assessments should reflect what activities are done in the class, and that direct testing at this level is very important because I need to test the actual skills, not an indirect method like a multiple choice or something. Here I need to test exactly what I'm teaching. So now I'm going to just give a little information about the nature of it. I need for students to first be able to decode symbols in order to read fluently. So here is our individual symbols, which represent sounds, and students in Japanese need to associate a sound with each of these symbols in order to be able to decode and then read fluently. The types of things that I am aiming for them to be able to do are to be able to read items on a menu, or in other words, words, just at the word level, at the beginning level. So reading words is important, and also being able to read sentences, for example, a brief self-introduction. And on this slide, I show you, this is the entire contents of what they're learning. These are the 46 hiragana symbols, and including the romanization of their sounds. This series of quizzes that I designed are broken up like this. There will be 10 quizzes starting with number 1. These are offered in traditional Japanese alphabetic order. Not really an alphabet, it's a syllabary, but this is how the quizzes will be broken down, 5 symbols at a time for a series of 10 quizzes, and each quiz is cumulative, so I would incorporate a little bit of the previous column in order to compel studying and review continually. So in my series of quizzes, there are 4 tasks on each quiz, and the first task is a decoding quiz, which requires that students know the sound of each symbol for a realistic task, such as alphabetizing. So the students see words that they may or may not know, it doesn't matter, but the point is to prove that they know the sound of the first symbol of the word and number these in alphabetic order. Here is the correct answer, and this shows me that when they see the symbol, they know in their head what the sound is. The second task on the quiz is to say aloud. So this is just a rating scale, but given if each student is shown a random set of flashcards based on the column that we're studying, they need to go through the 8 flashcards and read them aloud. This also shows me that this is another way for them to show me that they know what the sounds are that are associated with the symbols. And these are just traditional Japanese symbols, cultural symbols used to indicate something positive, something mediocre, or partially correct, and I'm using this to represent that the skill is not mastered yet. So during the course of the assessment, I would just circle whichever symbol represents the student's level. The third task on the mini quiz is to demonstrate knowledge of stroke order. These symbols are written in a particular order, and this is necessary to know for later when students start writing symbolic language. So I want to test that their knowledge of the stroke order. So on the quiz, one of the strokes of the symbols is indicated, and then the student needs to give me a number between 1 and 4. Is this the first stroke, the second stroke, third stroke, or the fourth stroke? And this tells me whether or not they know the proper stroke order. And then the fourth and final skill that I assess is can the students produce the symbol from memory? And I give them a transliteration task, and they would have to provide the symbols that are equivalent to this sound, to these sounds. So a design summary is that there are 4 tasks. There are 2 decoding tasks which are receptive, and there are 2 writing tasks, the knowledge of the stroke order and transliteration, which are production tasks. And this is what the whole thing looks like. This is what the student sees. There are 4 components, and these can be done in just a very brief time because each quiz is very limited, so these can be done very quickly. The operation and administration details related to this are that we would generally have 1 quiz per week during the first trimester, and there would be a large cumulative test of all 46 symbols around Thanksgiving time. Students are allowed to retake quizzes if they if they apply to do so, but I need to see evidence that they are studying in order to retake a test. I'm aiming for mastery, so I understand that it may take each student a different amount of time to master this material, but I do need to cultivate good study habits in the students. Parents will be informed of this series of quizzes at Back to School Night and will be invited to participate in an interactive homework assignment in which they use flashcards to study with their child for a few minutes so they can better understand what their child is actually learning. So then at the end, students will have had a first exposure to decoding and producing hiragana so that they can actually go on to read actual Japanese. Thank you very much.